Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. On the Power of Voices at www.thepowerofvoices.com. You can catch la cambachinga la bombalapa pa fika kishinko dayanka. I have no idea what I just said. Except I got people calling me from Louisiana. Why is this person calling me from Louisiana? What in the world? Let's see. Yes. Can I help you? Yes. I'm good. I'm on TV and I'm on the radio and you're on with me. So how? Yeah, but no one can hear you. They just see me talking to you. So it seems like at 5 o'clock when I go on in Los Angeles, everybody in the world wants to call me. Do you have like an alarm clock that says, Jesse T is on, call him? I think you and 5,000 other people have an alarm clock that goes off and says that.
I am so sorry. Monet is actually on her way there.
Right?
We were trying to call her
Okay, well, we're going to put you on right now. Yeah. Oh, okay. How do I do that? Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, so Monet is here, coming, is she?
She's on her way.
She is. Oh, wow. Where is she at? Because if she's too far with this weather, remember, she's got an hour here, and so, I don't want her to come all this way for 10 minutes.
Right. Okay, let me do that. Let me see exactly where she is at this point.
Yeah, because if she's too far away, because it's traffic and stuff, I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Then it might not be worth her coming down here for 5 or 10 minutes.
Right, I get that.
Believe it or not, we are 7 minutes after 5 coming up to right now. And I just started the show.
Yes.
Speaking gibberish.
She's been swamped today. Yeah, it's been one of those crazy days.
Right.
Absolutely.
But maybe what she can do is maybe she can pull over and give us a call. That might be better if she's far away.
Oh, okay. I'll have her to do that then.
And that might be easier for her then, because I just sense that generally folks, when they aren't here, see, Monet Swan is going to be my guest today, and we're going to talk about what's happening in downtown LA. If the weather clears this weekend, they're going to have a big women's march down there, but more importantly, they're celebrating also the 100th anniversary of Mayor Tom Bradley. Of course, he's passed away now, but had he been living, he'd be 100 years old today, or in the last couple of weeks. Anyway, we're going to celebrate that, and Monet has a big extravaganza going on over there, as well as some other issues that she's out in front of and leading some causes and things like that. So we were going to get that together and get that going here and chit-chat a little bit about that. But she's, bearing down on the weather traffic here in Los Angeles, which is difficult at times. So I have her representative here, Lorraine, on with me. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi.
Yes.
I'm here.
That's a sexy Jesse. Hello. How are you?
Hi, Jesse.
Yes.
I'm here. So I'm going to reach out to her. I know that she's in the car, so I'll reach out to her and see if she can just give you a call in.
That might be better for her rather than her maybe getting an accident trying to rush down here.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Let me give you the call number, okay? This is the call-in number, so you can get a nice, clear audio on her. 424-227-94 Grape Popsicle. Boy, that looks good. I'm sorry. Lee knows I've cut out all the sugar out of my diet. I'm like sugar-free. I'm not having sugar or salt anymore because I'm a sugar addict. I'm an addict. I am a sugar addict, and I'm not going to have sugar anymore. So, no more sugar for me for about a week and 2 weeks now, and I'm going through major withdrawals. And my producer, Lee, here is eating a beautiful grape popsicle. Oh, my gosh. It's a veggie pop.
You might have to try a sugar-free popsicle. That might work for you.
No, what happens if I eat sugar-free popsicles, then I want a sugar popsicle. See, I can't fool myself. I got to go cold turkey. A cold turkey. That's it.
wow.
I'm-
Okay, let me verify that call-in number again.
424-227-9461.
9461. Okay, she's texting me now.
424-227-9461. We can do 10 or 15 minutes and get the message out at least.
Okay, no problem. Okay, well, I'll get her on the line for you guys.
Okay.
And have her to give you a call.
Sounds good. All right,
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks. Bye, Lorraine. Well, now, how did I know to answer that one? Whether the one from Chicago, from Philadelphia, from Florida, from Michigan, from Texas. I get all these calls. How did I know to answer? How many have I not answered?
It's called gut feeling.
Is it right?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. There are two brains in our body. Did you know that? Science has proven this. You have your brain up here in your brain itself, but you also have a brain in your gut. And the brain in your gut controls your emotions. And the brain in your head controls where those thoughts go. It's like a big giant traffic cop up in here. So you are just awful. This man is awful. He's eating a popsicle, and I don't care if it's a veggie popsicle. It looks like a grape popsicle. He's sucking on it and making all these terrific eating sugar. Ugh. And I'm just gonna look at. That's it. I'm drinking my water. Is this Arrowhead water? Hey, you can't drink Arrowhead water anymore. Pour it in a steel bowl, and it turns out to be a gelatin substance. Did you see that article on Facebook? What do you think about that?
I think it's bovine.
Really? We ought to run that experiment right now. Is there like a metal bowl around here we can pour this water into before I drink it, and it turns into gelatin substance and stops up my whole body? Yeah, there was this thing on Facebook, guys. Arrowhead Water. Facebook. Hey, saying hi to Asnowden 90. ASNOWDEN 90. Yes, there you go. Hi, how are you? Good to have you on Instagram. Hey, we're at Instagram Live at Jesse Terrero. Also, Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. We're there too, broadcasting live and also on live stream and Periscope and everywhere else, Twitter and LinkedIn and Blogger and Tumblr. And we're on the air and everywhere on the Global Radio Network of thepowerofvoices.com. You can check us out there if you're checking the audio feed. I'm afraid to drink this now because it might turn into a giant gelatin substance like they did on Facebook. What do you think that was? What do you think? Seriously?
I think it was almost frozen water. They put it in a metal bowl that was probably half frozen as well.
And it froze immediately, but into different forms like it did, and it was soft and gelatin. Did you see the whole video? It was squeezy like Play-Doh or putty or like melted plastic. Right. All right. Well, I'm just gonna take my chance and drink this.
You've been drinking it all along.
Now, if my head turns to mush and I turn into a giant gelatin,
I think someone had it out for Arrowhead Water, maybe a former employee, and they concocted that thing. I think it was one of those.
You think so?
Urban myths.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Scary though, huh?
Did you see the one where it looked like clear little fish?
Oh no, I didn't.
That
see
were in
that
water.
No.
Mm-hmm. God, this popsicle is good.
You are a bad man. You're an evil man. Evil man.
And that was the last one I had.
Felicia.
So I'm going to go buy some more.
Right now, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get a Slurpee on the way and a big eclair donut and come back with a Milky Way bar and a slushie and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper, cream soda.
Cinnamon roll.
And Mr. Pibb.
No.
Banana split.
I can't do those. Maybe a...
Just kind of support
maybe
I get.
Bowl of ice cream, some walnuts, and root beer. Or a grape soda. And just pour the grape soda over the ice cream. Mm.
You see what I got to put up with? I'll tell you something. I think I need to
bad.
sharpen my knife a little bit here. And see how sharp is that, baby?
You gonna cut me short? Huh? Damn.
That's right. No, seriously, I am. I'm kicking the sugar habit, and
That's good.
and I'm having these attacks.
You should. You should do that.
At night, especially before I want to go to bed. I'm having these sugar attacks, major sugar attacks. I want everything with sugar, and everything that I drive by that is open at night has sugar in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about honey? Can you do honey?
If it's not processed honey, there's a lot of people think honey is pure,
Right.
but if the bee ain't pooping it out into a jar that you eat, it's processed.
Right.
Because they have to, when they ship it to the markets, there's a certain amount of preservatives so it doesn't rot.
Right.
And
Shelf
bacteria
life.
and stuff. So, but it's not. So when you go to like Winco markets, these are markets or Stater Brothers or something, and you'll see you can pull this lever and this machine spits out honey into a bowl. You can buy it and it says fresh honey from the honeycomb. No, it's not. It's just a bunch of BS. Or if it is, then they must have a bunch of bees in the back.
Right.
Bee pooping for
Popping
your
out
honey.
that honey.
Popping out that honey.
Yeah, baby.
That's right, baby. Give me some of that honey, baby.
Need your honey.
Let me see. Vanessa Smith is checking and she wrote me an article here. Hey, Jesse, do you think you can interview Mr. Charles Wright from Watts?
Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band?
Yeah, I think so. Watts
Express yourself.
103rd Street Rhythm Band.
Yeah. Express yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring him on in here.
Absolutely.
Venice Smith. Yeah, well, let's get him in here. That was a great song. Express yourself. Yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah. Doom.
Doom, 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 doom.
Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, great song. Out of all the guys from that era, I don't think I ever met Charles. I'm trying to remember. I don't think so.
No, I've never met him.
Yeah.
That was late 50s?
No, 60s.
Early 60s.
Yeah.
Maybe 63, 62, 61, something around there. Because music changed. The minute Motown hit, music changed. That was a good song, though. Felicia Moon Realty is checking in. Thanks a lot, Felicia. Yeah, Venice, hook it up for us. Give me a call. You got my number, right? I'll give it to you. 818-800-1343. Just give me a call. It doesn't matter. And anybody wants to call me, because nobody ever calls me. They only call me between 5 and 6.
They'll call you a name, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. All right, so that's what we're doing today. We're waiting for our guest to give us a call, but we got some things I can always talk about. Saying hi to Hampton Mike Lewis. Thanks a lot, Hampton, for having us on. Wanted to talk about this homeless thing that's going on. It's a big controversy in Los Angeles. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. They moved those people out of the Santa Ana River basin right over there, and the judge moved them on out, and they put them in hotels, motels, sixes, and boarding rooms for 1 month with a voucher that the taxpayers of Orange County paid for. Now that month is up, and now they don't know what to do with them. They're trying to ship them to Laguna Niguel, and Laguna Niguel said, no, we don't want 200 homeless people on hypodermic needles and drugs and crazy people who don't want to get off the street and just want to create mischief, crime, and filth and trash. So they're suing LA County supervisors for trying to get them there. Huntington Beach said, no, we don't want them. Irvine said, we don't want them, and they're going to put them in Irvine in some tent city thing, and Irvine said, no, we're going to sue you. Nobody wants them. Well, I don't blame them. I don't want them in my neighborhood. Do you want them in your neighborhood? They're already all around my neighborhood. My goodness, you can't go anywhere without getting begged for money. I mean, man, Well, you know what I like to do? This is how you beat a beggar who's begging you to the beg. Okay, so when you know someone when they're hanging out at Circle K or 7-Eleven or the gas station, you just know, you get a gut feeling like we were talking about. There's two brains. There's a brain up here that controls where everything goes in your body, the head brain, and then there's the lower brain in your gut, your gastrointestinal brain that controls your emotions. That's why you have a gut feeling about things. It comes from your gut. And that's validated scientific absoluteness, because they've been able to map that through all the science that they can. You check that out. But you got a gut feeling when someone's going to come up to you and ask you for money. I mean, you just know. You just kind of get this aura around you, right? So before they ask me, I say, hey, You got a quarter? I need a quarter, man. It usually stops them dead in their tracks because I was going to ask you for $1. Man, all I need is a quarter. I'm trying to collect some quarters to get some gas. Stops them dead in their tracks. They don't know what to do. They usually laugh and smile unless they're psycho. And a lot of them are. A third of them are psycho. A third of them, don't want to get off the streets, and a third of them want to get off. That's the most recent statistic that I've come up with, doing a little homework on that. So, most of the people don't even want to get off the street. The psychos aren't going to get off the street. That's the thing that they're experiencing in Orange County right now. Of all the people that they took out of the Santa Ana River area right there in Orange County, and they put them in this temporary housing with vouchers that the taxpayers paid for in Orange County. All these people, about three-quarters of them didn't want to get interviewed by the professionals. An assessment. They call it a health and body and mind assessment. And they didn't want to get interviewed by these professionals because they don't want to be targeted. Some of them have warrants out for their arrest. They don't want to be assessed. They don't want to go into the programs that are available for them. You got to go through this assessment there in Orange County to get into a program when there's readily enough rooms available and programs available. There's one supervisor was saying in his district alone, he's got like 300 or 400 open rooms ready to go that are already zoned for this type of individuals and this type of housing. Already vacant. No one can put in there. And the reason why no one's in there is because none of the people that they ever pick up homeless want to go into a room, because then they have to be assessed and monitored, and they have to do certain things to get off the street. They got to get educated. They got to get cleaned up. They got to get medically sound. They got to get physically sound and mentally sound. They got to try to get a job. They got to do all these things that take responsibility and accountability. They don't want to do that, so now these rooms sit vacant. So you see, the problem isn't so much the homeless problem. The problem is people just want to live out there without having to pay anything like you and I have to pay. Taxes, power, water, insurance, gas, tires, fixing our car, food, water, medical, everything. So that's really the key in that respect. So when you start looking at that, that's really the issue. The issue is they don't want to get involved. Why should they? It's what, $30,000 to $60,000 worth of freebies? Nah. I wish I could get $30,000 to $60,000 worth of freebies, that's for sure. I mean, the solutions are not there. And I just think it's going to perpetuate itself to the fact that we're going to have 260,000 homeless people here in Los Angeles in the next 10 years. Watch. Mark my words. Hey, our guest is here, Moni Swan. Moni, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, real good. Sorry we couldn't do it in person, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay. I'm with you in spirit.
And you are with me in spirit and sound. And Moni Swan, everybody, just a wonderful, hard-working lady. She's lots of causes that she's in front of, and she's talented and beautiful, and just a bundle of fun when you meet her in person. She's quick, and she's got wit, and she's going to pay me $25 at the end of this interview because I'm giving her all these nice accolades.
Is that all you're worth is $25?
Hey,
you need to add some extra zeros onto that.
No, for you, Moni, I'm cheap and I'm easy. Thank you. So where are you exactly in Los Angeles? I know you're fighting this crazy traffic like we all do.
Right. Well, I'm out in the beach areas.
Oh, okay. Well, go from one beach to the other beach, sometimes it takes an hour.
It does. Sometimes just going, from one light to another may take 15 minutes out here. So. Yeah,
it took me to go 3 miles yesterday, and it wasn't raining. It took me to go 3 miles on the freeway, 40 minutes.
Wow.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was the stretch of the freeway that I was on yesterday at the particular time where there was no off ramps. I couldn't get off. So I was stuck for those 3 miles.
Wow.
So I was sitting there trying to do my relaxation drills and meditation and breathing through my nose and doing chi and trying not to be frustrated. And, that's stressful just enough as it is. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, absolutely. Los Angeles freeways and streets, we have a lot of people trying to go a lot of different places at the same time and get frustrated. So it's...
I think there's
you
just too many
have to say,
people.
Put on your music and kind of just lean back. and drive.
I've always said LA's a beautiful place. The only problem is there's too many humans.
Well, you know what? I have something like that. I'd like to not have to use the public toilets because everybody in the public has used it. So I agree with you with that.
That's sort of like an oxymoron, isn't it? In a
Yes.
lot of ways, like jumbo shrimp, right? You know, like in and out.
Absolutely.
You know, right? Yeah, it's an oxymoron. Public bathrooms. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah, we don't really want to visit those.
No, we don't. Absolutely not. That's for sure. You never know what goes on in those bathrooms here in the city of
Unfortunately,
Los
we
Angeles.
see the results.
Yeah, we do see the results. That's absolutely true. So tell me, Moni, you got something huge going on this weekend. If it doesn't rain and Mother Nature is on your side, what's going on
Well,
this
and
weekend?
I believe that all will be well. Everything will go smoothly, sunny. I don't know how warm it will be, but it's the best time to come together, to join forces with other organizations, celebrate Mayor Tom Bradley, his legacy, and how we are remembering his vision when he was the mayor from 1973 to 1993, and agree to move forward with some of those visions with the Women's March and the March for Our Lives.
Now, Tom Bradley, he is, correct me if I'm wrong, he is the mayor that has the longest term in recent times.
Ever, period.
Really?
After him, they put the time limits on it. So, you got termed in and termed out. They didn't have that then.
Mhm.
And after his fifth win, it was like, okay, we're done. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He was a good mayor, though. I was growing up during his mayoralship. I was a kid and 13 when he got in the office and 23 when he got out. And I interviewed him one time very briefly, very quickly, for about 10 minutes for a news reporting thing that I was doing. And that's the only time I talked to him. Then I was at K-Day in Los Angeles at the time on the air there.
Okay.
And he did a lot. He accomplished a lot in those 20 years. I don't think a lot of folks out there today know exactly all the things that he accomplished during those 20 years. Can you talk about some of those things?
Absolutely. Well, one of the ones that I think most Los Angeles or Angelinos see in their daily ride around town is if they go out to the airport, you see the airport terminal, this international is the Tom Bradley International Terminal. And I meet so many people under the age of 40 that don't really know who he was, and they'll say, oh, that's the guy whose name is on the International Terminal. And I'll laugh and I'll say, yes, but do you know why his name is on the terminal? That's the key.
Right.
And to understand about that coming into play because of the Olympics and the surge of traffic coming in and out, we needed to be able to utilize every bit of space, create it so that people could get in and get out and make the money along with it without having inconvenience. So one of the things he did is the Tom Bradley International Terminal. He brought the Olympics here in 1984, which had never been done, nor since then has any city that's hosted it actually made money out of it.
Oh, really?
Because of his... Yeah, nobody's ever come out in the black. They always come out in the red.
Yeah.
And he was the one that privatized a lot of the money that came in, which made it so wonderful. Then the Metro, we would not have the Metro, the green, the red, the blue, all the different types would not have even come into play if he hadn't started that, which he had a lot of people against him on the Metro saying, we don't need it, it's going to tear up the city, people love it now. When the Olympics were coming, he had so many people against it, saying, there's terrorists. Right. And he was a man of the present, He believed in bringing people together, having multicultural coalitions. He was the first one that had different ethnicities in government and in the police department. He created programs for civility, which we still need to keep going nowadays. He also, when women were really trying to get into business, he made a contract with all city construction companies that they had to hire 50% women companies or women to work in these contracts for government. And when you think about our ports, we have the largest container port in the country. And, I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. But most of the times people don't realize that these things had to create the foundation, which makes California the sixth largest economy in the world.
What do you think what do you think he would say today, and since you've done a lot of research on him, and we both kind of grew up during his timeline, but obviously you have a much more in-depth understanding of the accomplishments and the downside of the things, which there really wasn't much controversy in his mayoralship. There wasn't a lot of extracurricular activity that a lot of the mayors today end up getting caught doing, and doing this and doing that. What do you think he would look at today's Los Angeles? What do you think he would say in terms of your opinion?
I think that he would look at it and say, we've lost our vision. You know, we have forgotten that our biggest strength is diversity, people coming together for change. When we talk about the grassroots programs that we see with the students, we have to understand that there has to be civic engagement. And that's what he did. He brought people out from Koreatown. He actually created Koreatown. There wasn't a Koreatown until he started it. And he made the Jews come in, the Muslims came in, blacks, Caucasians, everybody worked together because they knew that they needed to have one voice, one mind, one community. So when, like, the Watts riots happened, it broke his heart because that became a tool for division.
Yeah, he was a homegrown guy. He was a homegrown guy, so he had gone back to his youth, way back before the Watts riots. So that was a part of his adult life when that happened.
Well, he was in city council at the time.
Right.
So it's like when you grow up, not only from the police force, because as you know, he started out working in the police department, and then he went into city council, and then he became a mayor. That made everything in the city his family. That was an extension of his family, those people that were out there on the front lines, whether you were in the police department or if you're in city council and you're trying to help the communities build themselves up. When you see something just fall apart, it's just like it breaks your heart. And so many people that knew him well said that he died from a broken heart because he had tried so hard to keep everything together. But part of the issue was because he did it so well, we grew so quickly.
Yeah, and he wasn't a flashy guy.
When something grows fast, it's hard to keep together.
He wasn't a real flashy kind of Hollywood flashy guy, always looking for the glitz and the glamour and the paparazzi and the newest headline that he could attach his name to. He was sort of like what one viewer and listener is saying, Venice. He was a real down-to-earth brother. He was a real down-to-earth kind of guy. You know, he was your everyday kind of guy. That's what I remember about Tom Bradley, is that he was your everyday kind of person.
Well, and let me add on to that, because one of the things that, in doing my research on him, I met him during the 1984 Olympics because I was the first person out on the field with the country Algeria. And when you get to meet a man of his stature, he's so tall. He was so tall and so good looking and very regal. You know, he wasn't elegant. The guy that you would see like hanging out in some jeans or something. That wasn't his appearance. But I will tell you this wonderful story. There was a young man that came up to me at an event, and he said, I want to tell you the story about Mayor Bradley. And I said, okay, well, what is it? And he said, well, I was just a kid at the time, and he was living in the mayor's mansion, and my car broke down on Wilshire, and I didn't know how to change a tire. So I'm out of the car. I'm looking around. This Lincoln Town car comes up behind me. He gets out of the Lincoln Town car, and he says, Mijo, what's wrong? So the guy is Hispanic, right? So he's like, you know,
that's an endearing statement to Mija, Mijo. That's a very endearing statement in Spanish.
Exactly. It's like, you're my family.
Right,
what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And he said he then proceeded to push the car over to the side and taught him how to change the tire. What mayor do you know nowadays would do that?
None.
You know, he was just an exceptional person. An exceptional human being, you know, outside of being the mayor. He cared for everybody. And it was rough back then politically in the political climate.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's even worse because we've forgotten all of the benefits that we learned about coming together back then, because we've got a very divisive political climate now that's
Yeah.
trying to separate instead of bring us together.
It would be
which is
interesting.
why we decided.
It would be interesting to see what his take would be on the homeless problem and the lack of city services, like the trash pickup problem that's going on right now in the city of Los Angeles, and the infrastructure problem, because he was a guy that always looked to the future to make things better in terms of the infrastructure and the cleanliness of Los Angeles was real important to him. That image of Los Angeles was real important to him.
Oh, yeah, because he brought everybody to Los Angeles and treated them very, very well. But I'll also tell you, with respect to why we're all getting together in Grant Park regarding gun violence, Bradley had really endorsed this Proposition 15, which was a statewide ballot initiative that would have put a freeze on purchases of new guns. And so actually that hurt him because people didn't want to give up their guns at that time.
Well, they still
and he
don't.
said, you know what, it's like, I don't care. This is really what we need to do. And so when we think about how we all came together, and it's kind of a cute little story, we had been planning his 100th anniversary since last year. And so we had Grand Park all locked down. We were going to have dignitaries and celebrities, and it'd be a very, very nice time to bring your family and enjoy the benefits and, introduce him to some and reintroduce him to others. But then the 17 people that were shot down in Parkland became a big, huge story. The students decided to march, and out of the excitement, they picked the date, March 24th. And so I'm sitting there with my project manager, and I'm thinking, March 24th? 24th? That's the date that we have. And so now I'm really looking at the television. It says, yes, we're going to start a purging, and we're going to march all the way down to Grand Park. And I'm like, we're in Grand Park. How's that going to happen? We're already in Grand Park. So I called the organizer, and I said, hey, we're in Grand Park. Where are you guys going to go? And they said, well, we're probably going to have a few $100,000. And I said, well, 100,000 people. And I said, okay, well, then we need to come together on this because Mayor Bradley would have supported this. Mm-hmm. And that's how all this came about. So we're really excited about it.
It's going to be a big event. They're expecting, from what I understand, a couple 100,000 people out there this year.
Actually, 500,000 because they're saying it's going to be larger than the Women's March. So it's going to be pretty fantastic. And it's especially great from my point of view because so many people have forgotten Mayor Bradley.
Right.
And they don't know what he's done. So to be able to get in front of this audience of millennials that, should have an appreciation for a man who really gave 20 years of his adult life to Los Angeles to make it what it is, create its downtown skyline and everything else. It's a perfect time to say how his vision follows up with the gun violence, the civility, the understanding, the mental health issues. He brought a lot of things together so that we could succeed. But over the last, I'll say 6 months, a lot of those things that were in play on the federal level are no longer there.
Right. Well, there's a lot of division in the country about a lot of things, and a lot of decisive action being taken on both sides of the agenda, unfortunately. The middle road is something that doesn't seem to be available to most people today to move to, and that's an unfortunate set of circumstances because really I believe America was based on the middle road. Americans seem to always come together down the middle of the road, and no matter what your agenda is on either side of an issue, there's always some sort of halfway point that people come together on, and that's just not being done today. So the separation of individuals and ideas and thoughts and the issues of the day are getting farther and farther and farther apart from each other. And that makes it harder and harder and harder to bring the parties together as time goes on, because then stuff sets in there.
I agree. I think that we're spending too much time on the results and not on the roots. Because a lot of the things we're talking about are heart issues and individual issues and mental health issues and public safety issues. Those are the things that really need to be dealt with.
The 1984 Olympics was really something. I had the opportunity to go to a couple of events there. My parents were avid pin collectors, if you remember that. Everybody had those the 84 Olympic pins and all of that, and we have my father has every pin that was made for the 1984 Olympics, and so we were real big fans, and it was really terrific to see all the murals that were painted along all the stretches of highway, the walls near the freeway, and in fact, one of Los Angeles' best muralists, Ruben Soto, painted the mural underneath Sunset Boulevard on Alvarado going towards Echo Park of Sylvester Stallone and his son and the pastor there.
Wow.
Yeah, he painted that, and he also painted the mural coming down the 5 freeway as you approach Stadium Way or the police, LAPD, and Allegiant Park on the right side. There used to be some joggers right there on that big piece of cement, that the retainer wall there that the Caltrans owned. He painted that mural and many others. And LA was really something in '84 with that Olympic buzz that was happening. And with the Olympics coming up again here in Los Angeles, I certainly hope that we can get and generate that kind of buzz again, that kind of good heart feeling, you know? Do you think we're going to be able to attain that again?
I do. I think it's getting the right people in place. I mean, one of the next events that we're doing is having a plaque being put up in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, and we're going to have the ambassadors there and a lot of the Olympians, and that's going to be June 16th, I think. And it's just bringing that spirit of oneness again. The athletes came together, people came together and celebrated their accomplishments. And, you know, when you can sit down and put all of your differences aside, and you can enjoy music, and you can enjoy the expert level of professionalism the athletes bring, it just, you know, brings the level up all around the city. Everybody's happy, and they're happy to see other people and enjoy what's going on and celebrate. It's a great time for all.
Of course, we have here in Los Angeles what we didn't have then, and in the rest of the country, is the fear of terrorism against large groups of people meeting in certain areas, and the security will be really something to to deal with there. And that's a lot of the ways LA has changed in a lot of ways. It was Mayor Bradley who was able to lead through the Rodney King disaster that happened and helped change LAPD to community policing. That with Chief Willie Williams, who came in from Philadelphia after Chief Daryl Gates retired. So, but Mayor Bradley was part of the leadership of that change.
Absolutely. He championed a lot of that civility movement that the communities were so in need of. When you think about the things that were going on, especially when we talk about minority issues, urban issues, he had to be the first one to buy property in Leimert Park, because at that time it was completely white.
Yep.
And he wanted to get in and show people that there was nothing to fear. Maybe you didn't know that, you know, black people were okay, but I'm going to move in right next door to you.
Right.
I'm going to show you that my family is no different from yours.
Right.
And you're going to see that we don't need to be divided. We need to come together. And I think one of the things that we need to continue to remember about his vision was oneness and multicultural coalitions. Because it doesn't matter what your agenda may be, if you don't look at it from the perspective of all of us being together to do it, then it's not going to be successful, because you can squash one group or the other group. But when we all say, this is our fight, we all need to come together on this, that's when change occurs. And
well, you know, right is right and wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter what color you are. Right is right and wrong is wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are, what sex you are, what religion you are, what preference you are, whatever you want to be. Right is right and doesn't change, and wrong is wrong and doesn't change. And people have an innate feeling, unless you're a psychopath from birth and you have a disorder chemically from birth, you know when you're doing wrong and you know when you're doing right, especially if you grow up in any society in the civilized world. And even what would be the uncivilized world is certainly civilized to them in their world. So even deep in the Amazon, right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, and this is what people don't understand. And it's not a race issue. It's right is right and wrong is wrong. It's a human thing. It's just called being a human being, you know?
Right.
And that's really the key. And we've gone away from that. But there's a whole discussion as to why. I believe we have an oligarchy in society now ruling America and the world, and dissension and destruction and destroying is what they want to do, and has proceeded to do it for quite a long period of time. But that's another discussion. Certainly the times have changed, though, since Mayor Tom Bradley. So I think this weekend is a good thing to kind of harken back to the days when people had a little more logic and common sense in a lot of ways. Yeah.
I guess common sense isn't that common anymore, right?
Yeah, it's like, right. Sometimes I question my common sense to being common because I'm uncommon, because the common sense I know isn't common anymore. And quite frankly, I don't know what common is anymore, so I'm uncommon. So I ain't got no common sense either. Geez, I know that's a big round circle, but what can I tell you? So you got lots of things going on, Moni. Tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that you've done over the years, and let the folks know, who you are and some of the cool other things that you got coming up. I know this is a big event, but what do you got coming up too as well?
Well, a lot of this is kind of going around Mayor Bradley's 100th anniversary for this year.
Mm-hmm.
My company, Collaborative Expansion, really deals with the mind, the heart, creating a better self-empowerment for individuals, because we believe that when you talk about shooters and you talk about bullying, there is a self-esteem issue there. There is a part missing from that person's heart that needs to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do things where we mentor kids around the country to understand who they are, how to speak out, how to be strong. And that's what we do when I'm not doing that. And when I'm not doing the mentoring and I'm not doing an event for Mayor Bradley, then I'm also a vocalist. And I'm going to be going back in the studio, and I just kind of do jazz on the side, and that's kind of fun. But I've worked with victim witness advocacies all over the country, and it's fun to see people come together and grow.
Did something happen in your life? Did something happen in your life that kind of put you in this direction of being a person that wants to help folks and mentor and help victims? Or is this something that you've always done your whole life, has been kind of part of your life, the giving of yourself to help the others first? Is this something that has come to you, or something happened in your life?
No, you know what? This is something that I've just done since I was a child. I always kind of, when I saw somebody being taken advantage of, I felt like that was my duty to step in and try to help.
Right.
And, of course, at times it hasn't always turned out well.
Right.
But I think when you get in there and you realize that nobody else is going to help them, then you say, okay, well, let me come in and do this. I guess this is my responsibility because nobody else is going to move.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of put me in a position to get the education, to get the experience, to be able to help those who are going through domestic violence cases. I've worked with the prosecutor's office on different cases. I've worked with prostitutes, gang members, everybody that you could possibly think of that's kind of been left out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about No Child Left Behind, that's on an intellectual side. But what are we doing about the children that are left behind when they go home and they don't have parents, or they get on the computer and they play these games that are violent and they become desensitized?
Yeah, what do you think about that? Do you think that is one of the main culprits over the last 35 years, almost 2 generations now, that of course being Generation X, after my generation, the baby boom generation, which I was at the end of that timeline, but the next generation, Generation X, and the millennials, and the Generation Y, I think the babies being born today are now being named the Generation Y. We'll get, so you got
So they're asking why.
Yeah, well, you got 3.
Why are we in this mess?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but you've got 3 generations now, other than the baby boom generation. That's 4 generations, but certainly 3 that have been affected by what you just mentioned: the games, the violence, the sexual perversity, the internet. And human trafficking, which I am a proponent to fight. I fought against. We cleaned up a whole area of the northeast San Fernando Valley that's been there for 100 years, pimps and human trafficking, and we saved some little girls and boys 12 years old from that horrible, disgusting life that they die in, actually, 97% of them. But the biggest thing that the professionals will tell you, FBI right down to the doctors and the psychologists, is the biggest thing that exploded this perversity and this deviant behavior of these pedophiles is the internet. the internet,
Yes.
and now the smartphones, and so I mean, how do we combat these things that are ingrained in families that are having children today? To say, no, you can't have a cell phone yet. No, you can't play the, Grand Theft Auto or the newest chop 'em,
Right.
shoot 'em up game. No, I'm sorry, you don't use that kind of language. No,
Right.
I'm going to smack your little butt. Sorry, I mean, how do we combat from your point of view? How do we win?
Well, there are several ways there's several solutions out there, but all of them have a lot of different levels to it. Because first of all, it starts in the home. If you have children raising children, it's going to be a very difficult thing to break the cycle. They don't have the information. They may not have the time. They may have been hurt so much themselves that they have nothing to give. And so what happens is that they need to have somebody who's going to babysit, so they set them down in front of the internet or in front of a game, and they don't realize that they're brainwashing their kids right then and there because they don't have the time to do it. Maybe they're working 2 or 3 jobs. Whatever their certain situation is, those kids are growing up with other kids trying to teach them the wrong thing because they think it's the fast thing. And we all know that getting someplace fast and not knowing how to deal with it is worse than not getting there at all, because if you get into a situation quickly and you're not prepared, it was better for you not to go and make those steps towards it. So when you have kids that are coming out of single-parent homes and the mother's working 2 or 3 jobs, you've got to figure out what do we do for them after school, which is one of the things that Mayor Bradley did with LA's Best. So he created an after-school program because he saw back then the latchkey kids is what they used to be called in my generation.
Yes, I used to tease my mother and tell her, I'm a latchkey kid. You make me come in the back door. I can't even come in the front door. I can't even have a key to my house. I got to come to the back fence and to the back door. And I said, no one's home when I come home. I'm a latchkey kid. I used to tease them, right? And they said, my mother, bless her soul, she said, you might be a latchkey kid, but I'll tell you something, you aren't far from my latch. And that I wasn't.
Well, see, and that's great, though, because the kids today are very, very far from it. And, they don't understand in some respects, not all of them, but there are some that have real strange ideas as to, what a real day's work is.
Right.
They're so instant gratification, that they don't realize it takes time for certain things to happen, and that you must be prepared for when it does happen. You can't just step in there and say, hey, I've always wanted to do this. You've got to say, what are the steps to getting in there, and then be respectful of those who are trying to teach you. But I think a lot of times we're getting into places where they want to be someplace before they can get there, and then they disrespect the people that are around that are trying to help them because it's like, well, you guys messed up. It's your generation that has messed us up. But they don't understand it takes many generations to get where we are today.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just a generation before you.
These problems we're having today go back not just 10 years. They go back 100 years. I mean, if you start look at why in the greatest country in the world will we feed the planet Earth out of the heartland of America, okay, why is there hunger in this country? Why is there homelessness when there are rooms available for people to live? Why? I'm constantly asking why. And you have to ask yourself, why do we have 100 million people on some sort of government assistance program throughout this great nation? 100 million people receiving something from a government assistance program, to one little thing to a whole lifetime of stuff, which is $30,000 to $40,000 a year. Why? Why have we allowed ourselves politically, financially, economically to come to this point? And, the only answer that I can come to is because it's designed that way to create indentured servitude or slavery in one form or another. Slavery is slavery. If you make people hungry and sick and can't have good water, you've got control of their life forever, and you put them on assistance programs, you got them. You got them forever. And then you can kill them. I'm getting right to the point. I mean, they did it to the guys and gals in the South. They gave them VD, in the 1940s. I mean, and don't you think the chemtrails above are killing us all? And the GMO food that's got no vitamins, but the fast food has got nothing but sugar, salt, and carbohydrates in it. No wonder we got obesity and kidney problems and liver problems. No wonder we're dumb in the brain, because the brain is filled full of sugar, which shuts down the ability for knowledge to be spread through your nerve endings. I mean, I can go on and on and on, Moni. Don't get me going. Put me on stage.
Well,
I mean...
all of that is true, but what about our basic need of water? There should be no issues with clean water in the United States.
Why does Nestle Corporation, Moni, why does the Nestle Corporation CEO not 2 months ago said at a closed CEO directive meeting that just to the stockholders, they said water in this world is not a right. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And we're going to own all the water in the world. And Nestle does. You know, the Nestle is the largest owner of lakes and rivers and underwater aquifers in the world. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
They control water. They control the water. They're going off to the Amazon now in South America and buying up the water rights of the third largest underwater aquifer in South America right now. They're buying up those water rights so that they can drill for water and control water. You see, I mean, why do we allow this to take place? Why has the generations happened? What has gone wrong?
Well, I think when you talk about distractions, and you have people that are in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
Survival mode trumps distractions.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, okay, I don't have any electricity, or I can't pay my water bill, or, I don't have food, or I don't have a job, or I don't even have a place to live. And I think in L.A. it's very sad because downtown where there's so many homeless, if you go 2 blocks one way or 2 blocks another way, you'll be right there with a loss that's $5,000 or $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
And right outside you'll see somebody in a shopping cart with a pillow and a blanket.
Right.
And so, once again, we have to go back to our morals, our beliefs. What is being a humanitarian?
Right.
When you can walk out of a $5,000 loft and you see a man and a child sleeping on the side because they have no place to go and it doesn't affect you, that's where the problems are. We have to be able to look at each person as a human being and say, should anyone live like that? And the answer is no.
What about the big pharma? They clean up the Santa Ana River basin right there of the homeless just a couple of weeks ago. In the first day alone, they found 5,000 used hypodermic needles and syringes, 5,000 laying on the ground. And they clean up San Francisco. They spend $30 million a year cleaning up the public centers of San Francisco, and they have tens of thousands of used hypodermic needles. That's big pharma addicting our children into addiction from the time that they're born. And when you have that, when you get addicted to sugar is an addiction. It's the world's largest addiction, okay?
Yeah.
Not alcohol, not opiates. Why are we in Afghanistan? Why did the Taliban burn all the poppy fields down in Afghanistan? We got rid of the Taliban. The CIA goes in there and grows the poppy fields. The United States Army protects them. And all of a sudden, in the last 3 years, we have opiate problems. Why?
Right.
Are you telling me that none of that is interconnected? Are you telling me that none of that is what they want? You see, how do we fight that, Moni? How do we get the 500,000 people out in Los Angeles this Saturday? How do we get them to fight that? Forget about that. Let's fight where they're killing us.
Yes. Well, it's coming together. I mean, the way I look at it is we're one body. Now, there's some that represent the arms. There's some that represent the legs. There's some that represent the brain. But when something happens in your body, every part of your body that can go and help fix it goes to that area.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to stop looking at it as, oh, well, you're an arm. I don't have anything to do with you because I'm a foot. And, oh, you're an ear, so I don't have anything to do with you. You're an eye. We have to look at ourselves as one collective community. And when one person is hurting, we all go to their aid. When one person is sick, we all go to their aid. We don't say that doesn't affect me, because it does affect us all.
And that's what America used to be, even though we always had our differences and we had our bad points. One for all and all for one. That's where we used to be. Hey, you don't pick your friends in a foxhole when the enemy is charging at you. You don't care who's in the foxhole with you. You just want to protect them and them protect you. There ain't no atheists in a foxhole.
That's true.
Hey, look, sorry for me getting on my preacher's wagon here, Moni, but, you know, it frustrates me, and I hope that we can turn that 500,000 people into some positive good this weekend. Let us know real quick as we end the show where you're going to be and a way to get in touch with you.
Okay, so we're going to be at Grand Park this weekend, this Saturday, and it's from 11 to 4. If you want to come down to the march, it actually starts at 10 o'clock. They're organizing at 9, and the march goes from 5th and Broadway to Grand Park. Then at the park, we're having celebrities singing. We're having speeches, some of the people, the students from Parkland. And you can also go on our website, which is www.mayortombradley100.com. And you can also go to our GoFundMe page, which is Stand Up and Walk It Out. Because once you stand up, you must take action. That's what Mayor Bradley did, and I want to see you guys down there this Saturday from 11 to 4 at the rally in Grand Park.
Okay, thank you, Moni Swan, and you got to promise me you're going to let me get up on stage and say something. Ah!
Well, come on down.
The Jesse T. Show.
Get your media credentials.
Thanks a lot, Moni. The Jesse T. Show coming at you every day, 5 to 6, right here on thepowerofvoices.com, Facebook, and YouTube. We'll see you. The Brown Beauty's off duty. Yo, we're out of here. See ya. We do everything here, even crazy activities like this. 500,000 women in L.A. Oh, my goodness.